Good morning, everyone. Welcome to vRealize This Live, episode 10. Thomas, we've hit a milestone here with this. How you doing, sir?
I'm surviving. Just going through some billing right now, actually.
Oh, you talking about cloud billing, perhaps?
Cloud costing billing, actually, yeah. So I got that bill for all my labs. Super exciting.
Oh, nice. Well, that's yeah. I mean, contrary to what the meteorologists say, clouds aren't free, right? So, and
No.
awesome that you just happened to be here, right? We're talking about managing your cloud costs, and we're looking at some of the solutions that we have within VMware to look at both your VMware clouds, right? So your on-premises private clouds, your hybrid clouds, and then also talking public clouds. So we got a lot of ground to cover here today. And we certainly can't do this alone. We do have two fantastic guests joining us. We've got Shreya Paddy, and we've also got Tim George. So this is a full room here, guys. How are you doing?
Hey, doing great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, sure, you bet. So we're going to be talking, obviously, about cloud costing, and really, there's two products that we're going to be vRealize Operations and CloudHealth, right? So let's start with vRealize Operations, and maybe let's separate a little bit about why we would use one solution versus the other. Why would we use vRealize Operations, and why would we use CloudHealth?
Yeah, so I mean, vRealize Operations, right, is going to help bring in all the information from your public cloud deployments. In this case, that's kind of what we're talking about today. Right, bring all the information as far as availability, your inventory, so you can troubleshoot all of your EC2 instances, your RDS instances, so on and so forth. All of the services we can get now from both or from AWS, from Azure, from GCP. All of those object types you can bring them to vRealize Operations, and it really now we have this kind of bi-directional going between VRups and CloudHealth, and we'll get into that here in a minute. When you start showing some things off, but really great. VRups is really great when we were talking about your on-premises environment, bring in from your hybrid clouds, bring in from public cloud, get all of those objects together in one place. So you can see all of your data in one place. Gives you that single source of truth when you're looking at trying to monitor your objects. As well as troubleshooting, being more proactive instead of a reactive, and really giving you that health, that risk, that efficiency of the environment overall. And for CloudHealth, I'll turn it over to Shri there, and he can kind of say what's great about CloudHealth.
Yeah, thanks for having me again, Matt and Thomas. It's nice to be back.
Thanks for coming back. We didn't scare you off too bad.
Yeah. That too on episode number 10, so that's nice. So regarding CloudHealth, we covered some pieces in our previous conversation as well. CloudHealth focuses primarily on the public cloud environment, on AWS, Azure, Google, and Oracle Cloud. We provide visibility into costs. We help you optimize those costs, and we also give you visibility into your security posture. And in general, we try to help customers quickly identify, okay, how many assets do you have? What are the different kind of resources you have in there? A lot of different tags customers use. I'll show you as part of the demo. There's a gazillion tags that you can use, and tagging is one of the best practices, but how do you manage those tags as well? And finally, how do you build policies around all of that to automate and keep things in check, right? You don't want to keep going back to your AWS dashboard or Azure dashboard every single day to look at what is happening and who is spending what, but you just kind of want to automate and have it in a simple way where your policies are applied, right? So focusing, heavily towards cost optimization and then helping customers operationalize it better, whether it's similar to VRups, right? Like what VRups does from on-prem and VMware Cloud. We do similar constructs. We look at right sizing. We look at if your VMs or resources are over provisioned, and then give you recommendations, and they can take right sizing actions. So you can think of CloudHealth and VRups being better together in this scenario. If you are someone who's starting from on-prem and is trying to migrate to public cloud environments, or you had two separate groups who are operating public cloud, who own CloudHealth as well, and vRealize operations as well. And we'll show you today how they work well and how we exchange data between these platforms.
Sure. So we're going to start off with taking a look at vRealize operations. Is that right? We're going to look at some of the data we can actually get from CloudHealth and look at some of the sharing, and then we're going to flip this around, right? We're going to talk about what we can get from vRealize operations within CloudHealth. So really show off these integrations here. Tim, I think you're going to be kicking us off here with vRealize operations, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I just brought up, and this is nothing that's new, but just as a refresher for everyone, I'm just using AWS here as an example. We could certainly use Azure, GCP, either way, but I'm just using AWS here, and just to kind of show or again refresh, right? We can get our inventory and see all of our AWS services that are coming in here. We can look at our availability of everything, all of our objects, right? So we get, there's our EC2, our RDS, our Dynamo, Redshift, CloudFormation stacks, all that stuff. We can see the health of each of these objects here that we're bringing in. If we wanted to dive into any of these directly, something like EC2, we can pull it up and we get our geo, location. We can pull in and click on any of these, right? And we get all of our different regions that we can then see from that point, find out, what our highest utilizations are, from highest CPU, lowest CPU, so on and so forth. And same with RDS. If we wanted to look at our RDS or anything that way, we could also bring up if we're having any sort of issues, right? We can get all of our AWS objects, see if there's anything we need to look at specifically. We can get the relationships and how those kind of go together, and look and see if there's anything we need to check out as far as any of our CPUs that might be going off, any of our space that's is having issues there. We can also then take all of this information that we're getting from all these object types and all these metrics that we're getting and create some custom dashboards, right? So we have something like this we're showing. This is our part of our MOAD demos that we do. So this is our retail shopping cart application that's here in AWS, and we can see again, here's our various EC2 instances. We've got our ABS volumes. We've got our network interfaces. And as we kind of click around on our various objects or the pieces of that application, we can start looking and finding out those metrics to go along with that, our CPU and our memory or disk used, our average, and find out if it looks like this one here where our file system is running out of space. So that's something we could definitely take a look at and jump into Amazon or AWS to find that out. But this is all giving us just our metrics around these pieces. If we wanted to actually get how much is any of this costing us, right, we have to use then our CloudHealth management pack for CloudHealth, and then once we've got that set up, we can get all of our kind of our costs, right? So we can see our total costs coming in, our EC2 instances coming in, and we can break that up further by account, by region, so we can just check out just our regions or our services in general. We can look and see what our month-to-date costs are on these services that we have coming through. So that will bring in again directly from CloudHealth. Now we can also then get with the new integration for CloudHealth. We can also send data to CloudHealth from vRealize. So it's a quick installation. All we need to do is drop in an API key that we get from CloudHealth. And I'm just going to jump to our repository real quick to show that we have got both these running, right? So we've got, here's our management pack for CloudHealth. That's all the information coming in from CloudHealth. And then we have this new integration that's here. And the only thing, again, we need to do, put in our API key. We can start sending data then directly to CloudHealth. So we can get that bidirectional, right? So we can start getting all of our tags and our applications and all the object types coming from vRealize and send that then directly to CloudHealth. So I think Shri will be a little better at talking to that part. You can show us kind of how that works once we've got that data flowing the other direction as well.
Awesome.
Sounds good. And before we jump into that part too, just remind everybody, of course, we are live right now. So if you have questions, comments, if you want to throw some good vibes our way, throw it into the chat here. We will address it. It's what we're here for. So let's go over to the Cloud Health side now. And Sri, show us what you guys can get. Is this the data that we're receiving from vRealize Operations now we're looking at?
Yeah, let me show you that just a second. Did I tell you about, it's cold here and I have an operating range in where temperature operating it's between 68 to 72. Anything below 6 for me, anything over 72 is hot for me. It's quite with California weather. And it's 62, so it's really cold for me. But yeah, coming back to this. So like Tim mentioned, right, there is bidirectional data flow. So you can send data either CloudHealth to vRealize Operations or pull the data from vRealize Operations to CloudHealth. So where do we do that, right? So what, we have covered this AWS dashboard and other capabilities of CloudHealth before in our episode. But what you saw there was the cost from AWS. Tim was showing you the AWS dashboard. If you noticed, we saw the current last month's cost, we saw the current cost. We basically saw all of the data that was there from this cost history report, right? So if I were to go to the specific cost history report, you can see cost for all of these different services. Over here, this blue bar shows the cost for EC2 compute, right? And this is for CloudWatch and other services. And if I move down here, you can see all of this data in a table. And this was the cost which you saw earlier in the dashboard, right? You saw this particular month's cost. This is for EC2, and you're able to see total cost and also cost based on region. So if I were to just filter all of data, or if I were to categorize this data, let's say I want to look at cost by regions, and now Cloud will show you a report for all different regions and their cost, and this is the data which you're seeing within VRealize Operations, right, from a public cloud point of view. And then from a data center point of view, right, we ingest all of the data center metrics and cost from vRealize Operations into the cloud platform, right? So here you're seeing the total number of machines that are running, cores, and all the memory that's being used. You can also look at all of these assets. So if I were to go, let's say, let me look at all the vSphere hosts that I have, I get all of that information. You can also see we have the host information, we have how much it is costing, and all of this costs have been configured on the vRealize Operations side. So one nice thing about this integration is all you need is a simple API key, like Tim was showing. And after that, you don't have to come in and individually onboard every single vCenter that you have, right? If you have already done that as part of your vRealize Operations setup, we will ingest all of that data in here, right? So making that user experience, pretty smooth, right? In terms of integration, it's just take an API key from CloudHealth, use it within your management pack, and that's about it, right? And then you get access to a wide set of reports within CloudHealth, right? Similar to what we saw on the AWS side. You can look at cost history report. I just have integrated it a month ago, so I just have 1 month's data. But in general, CloudHealth stores 13 months of data within the platform. You can again leverage our perspective. You want to look at all the cost by cost center. I can change that category, and you'll see now I'm seeing costs. I have 2 cost centers configured. One is operations and engineering. I can see costs according to that. I can filter all of this information to a specific data center, host, or a particular project, and view it that way. So let's say I want to look at a particular project or a particular application within my environment. Now I can say add that as a particular filter and then show me the data. Again, right, we also have another cost driver history report. This is where we are looking at all the cost drivers within your hybrid cloud environment or your private data center, right? Whether it's licensing, networking, server, or hardware. CloudHealth is obtaining all of this data from vRealize Operations and showing you here, and you can use these reports as you are using, your public cloud reports as well, you can subscribe to these reports. So let's say I come in here for subscription, I can, I'm just going to call it demo report, and I can store it in cost history. And once I save this, I can select the frequency, right? I can say, okay, send this report on every Mondays or on Thursdays. I want this pretty chart. I want a CSV along with this, and email it to a set of folks, right? I can add their emails and set this up. So it makes it pretty easy, right? If you're someone who is into operations, who has to show, you have to show to your manager or to your VP of infrastructure, you want to give them monthly or quarterly reports. This makes it really easy to do that. Again, you get all of the same. Right.
I think this view here really highlights the importance of this integration, right? I think, as Tim said, now we've got a single source of truth, but also looking at all of the different cost drivers that are here, right? Licensing, there's a lot of detail here. And, this integration also will help with, look, you only have to enter this data in one place. Because, of course, vRealize operations, you can either leverage, industry standard pricing, but if you really want to get into the nitty gritty and really, dial in your costs, right, you can customize all this in vRealize operations. So being able to do it in just one place, and now you can see this information in both tools, I think this is a really big improvement. This is probably one of the biggest differentiators why we did this integration.
Yeah. Exactly. And just to show, further, how closely we are integrated, Tim was showing our AWS overview in vRealize operations, right? And if you notice there, you would have seen he deployed a MOAD app. That's an app we have deployed in our environment, and we can see data just with that. And we use vRealize automation to deploy that, right? And we also have an integration between vRealize automation and CloudHealth, right? So where CloudHealth will get all of the information related to deployments that were done using vRealize automation. And if I change the category, I'll show you what I mean by that. You'll see all of these costs are now the cost of applications that were deployed using vRealize automation, right? And it is automatically categorized for you. So let's say you want to see, okay, what was the cost for this public cloud MOAD AWS app which I deployed? I can clearly see here for the month of July, it was almost $130, right? So I can quickly get to this information. And this was the app which Tim was showing you in vRealize operations overview, right? The vRealize operations has that data as well in the deployment. We have, from the CloudHealth point as well, the same information. So if I were to just go and look up the particular cost, if I want to look at that from CloudHealth, I can do that as well, right? So it's really tightly integrated in terms of how the data is being exchanged between these platforms. And it's the same thing, right? If we have 13 months of data, I can go again, look at all of these different costs for specific months, and I can build policies around all of this, right? Similar to what we did before, I can come in here, I can come to my governance portal, and now go and build a generic policy that spans across multiple cloud environments, right? So I can come and say, okay, maybe I want to look at EC2 costs for a specific application that was deployed using VR, right? So I can go, so here I'm going to select vRealize automation, and now I can select which particular app do I want to monitor, right? Maybe I want to look at my CHAWS deployment 1 and deployment 2. And only for these apps, I want to add a condition. I want to say cost measure, let's say, alert me whenever the cost is more than maybe $50, right? And I can save that condition. So whenever that happens for the EC2 instances that belong to just this particular deployment, right, just these two, that's when CloudHealth will take a certain action, and you can configure that action, right? I can say Shri has gone crazy and just delete the EC2 instance whenever it goes above $50. Or I can be nice and I can send the email to the owner and say, hey, you might want to check on this because this might exceed your budget or whatever is the reason, right? Or you
And
can
then
run
delete it.
and then delete it, yeah. Or maybe resize it, yeah. So you can see how we can definitely leverage the data from all of these different platforms and go really granular, right? We just don't want to say, okay, you're building something in vRealize automation, you're deploying with something else, you're monitoring something else, and you're looking at cost of something else, right? So essentially, we are reducing all of that, the burden of having to go and set up these things, right? So we automatically create this perspective within CloudHealth, right? There is no setup needed. Similar to vRealize operation setup, all you need is an API key from CloudHealth. You just put it within vRealize automation integrations for CloudHealth, and that's it, right? And it'll work. And by the way, it works both for vRealize operations cloud as well as vRealize operations on-prem, right? So if you were to choose the SaaS option, or if you were to choose the on-prem option, it works with both.
Got it. Yep. Parity between both.
Yeah.
So we do have a question here we could try to tackle from Abhishek, asking how Wavefront, which is now Tanzu Observability, how is that different from CloudHealth? What are some of the differentiators between these two tools? I don't know, Sri, if you want to try to take first stab at that one, or
yeah, I can take a stab at that, and if Tim, if you want it, it's fine as well. So Wavefront, and CloudHealth, that's a really good question, right? So Wavefront is we call it Tanzu Observability. It's an observability platform. What does it mean? It means it focuses on logging, metrics, and tracing, right? So in it at high level, what TO focuses on is on metrics and tracing. It can look at, okay, how many requests did you have per minute, or how many API calls were being made per minute. And then it can help you with tracing. Tracing meaning you can look at how the API calls. Let's say you clicked on add to cart on Amazon's website, right? But Wavefront can help you analyze which API calls were made and how long did each of these API calls take all the way through your database, right? And let's say at some point, if you're running at Amazon scale, at some point, if one of the APIs break, all you're going to see on your website is probably internal server error, or you're going to see a bad request. And you'd be like, okay, how do I debug that, right? So that's where TO comes into the picture, right? It can go at that API level and say, okay, Shri, you really screwed up with this particular API, 4 levels down here, and that's what is causing all of this trickle effect. And Wavefront does have AWS integration. I think that's where Abhishek is asking that particular question from, right? Where you can see the costs of a particular AWS asset, right? You can say, okay, this is what it costed me for the month of July on Wavefront dashboard as well. But what you get with CloudHealth, is a platform that is solely dedicated on cost optimization, operation, and security, right? So if you are looking at, okay, I want to do chargeback, I want to do showback, I want to really drill down into each of these resources and identify how much I was billed, why I was billed for these particular assets. So one of those examples could be if I go to this cost history report, and let's say I want to now look at all of this cost based on particular projects, right? So I can click on projects, and it will categorize based on the projects that I have within my account, right? So I have multiple MOAD projects. And if I come down here, let's see May of 2021, right? It says MOAD project costed $1,900. And if I click on this, now CloudHealth will go and get those specific billing items, right? These are all the billing items that are relevant to your project and why this particular project was costed $1,900, right? So CloudHealth can really go at that granular level and help you build and use all of this to justify to your teams, okay, why you were charged this. And if you want to do some things like ROI, right? You want to calculate, okay, how good your product or solution is doing, right? Are you burning more money, or are you making more money, right? So this chargeback and showback helps you in that. And finally, CloudHealth helps tie all of this with policies, right? Like I showed you. So, a multi-cloud generic policy that spans across these cloud programs. So if your goal is to do tracing, if you want to look at how API calls are structured, and you're okay with just looking at high level information for this month, it costed me XYZ, and Wavefront would be your option. I really want to drill down. I want to look at my optimization options. I want to look at right sizing. You should definitely check out our episode number 3. I think that was the episode, Matt. And
Yep.
and look at all of these different pillars. That's when you would use CloudHealth. And if you are operating hybrid cloud environment, you definitely want to do CloudHealth plus vRealize.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And we will link that in the description below as well if you want to check out that video. That was a fantastic demo of the capabilities of CloudHealth. And then I guess, Shri, will just pile on here a little bit. How does something like Secure State, you've got another, CloudHealth, another feature set here with Secure State. How does that sort of play into the developers kind of looking at Wavefront and so forth? Like, what is Secure State? How does that kind of bolt into that story?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so with Secure State, what we do is we provide, security detailing, right? Meaning, if you within CloudHealth itself, we have security recommendations, right? So for those who might not know about this, so if I go to the security tab, I can see all of the security violations for AWS, Azure, other cloud environments. But with Secure State, we're taking it to the next level, right? So if you are someone who really wants to dig deeper on the security cost, posture management side, we have another SaaS offering called as CloudHealth Secure State, right? Which looks at all of the configuration data from cloud environments. Like we look at AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. And then we provide you similarly, with recommendations, how to fix it. And we can show you how all of these objects are connected with each other. So we call it, explore. We call it connected graph, in which, I can quickly open up if we have a couple of minutes and show you exactly how it looks, right? it's easier
Sure.
to look at it.
Easier to show, right?
Yeah.
So this would kind of be sort of the second part of that story, right? Using Tanzu's
Yes.
ability to check those calls, but on this side of it, okay, we found that issue. How do we, or maybe we find the issue in here too, right? If it's some sort of a vulnerability or something that we're exposing ourselves to, but also the remediation part of it.
Exactly. Let's say you are getting a gazillion calls, API calls on one of your ports or one of your S3 buckets, and you're like, okay, why is this happening, right? Why am I getting bombarded with so many API calls on my EC2 instance? So that's where you can come in and see within Secure State, right? This is the Secure State platform. I can say, find by resource. I can go by specific resource ID. And now you can see here all of these different EC2 instances. And I can see, okay, this instance, it says it should not have a public IP address, right? Maybe this particular instance has that. And that's what is causing, all of these unnecessary API calls within your platform, within your app, that is impacting the performance, right? So, and with Secure State, I can click on this and, I get this nice little graph, which actually shows me all of the different resources that are attached to this, right? So there's a security group, and you can, as I click on these assets, you can, if you notice towards the right side, you'll get all the details regarding those objects, right? What does this tool have? It says it's open to the internet, port 22, right? And if you do that, within AWS or any public cloud platform, you will see, malicious folks trying to, hack into your EC2 instance, right? They're trying to get into this. So you will see a lot of SSH brute force attacks as well. So, with Secure State, we can quickly help you identify, you can see what the alert is about. You can also see who made these changes, right? It's not just about saying, okay, this particular thing happened. You can see on May 18th, if I click on the view JSON, you'll see that there was a particular action that was taken by using an assume role, right? Functionality. And we can also see all of the other data with respect to this, right? When the event occurred, in this case, an API call was used. If you had used the AWS from browser, we'll also identify that and explicitly point that to you, right? Someone used it from the browser. So let's say if some developer or someone from your organization shouldn't have access to the console, they should just have access to from CLI, you can easily identify that as well. And that's where secure state really takes it to the next level, right? We have this explore functionality we were just talking about. Let's say I just want to look at all of my EC2 instances in AWS, right? You'll see automatically set this, and I can click on this. I can look at the list. I can see this pretty graph, right? And from here, I can start layering and adding and writing my own query. So I can say, show me all of this and show me all of this which have a particular tag, right? And one cool thing I can do is I can say, okay, we had this MOAD app, right, which we deployed. So show me everything related to this particular MOAD app, web app, right? And if we have any of these resources, it would show that. I think one of the tags that Tim used was, I don't remember. Do you remember which was that, Tim? Maybe I'm in the incorrect art, but
yeah, I
use
don't
this.
recall offhand.
Yeah. So you can use this tag and tag filtering to get further information. You can find out if if there is a security group that is attached to this, right? If that security group has a particular ID or if that has a tag. So basically, you can really build out your query and explore all of this information. And once you do that, you can actually go create a rule with this query, or you can save this query. So from that point onwards, in real time, Secure State will start monitoring and giving you details about what is happening in your environment.
So with these groups and everything, and actually we have another question I think we can kind of address right here too, from a friend Abhishek, is what about doing security auditing for multi-tenant? So I think in this case you're talking about tags, and there are ways to kind of group these things together, right, in Secure State.
Yes. So we can group, so we have a concept of projects, right? Similar to what we saw, concept of perspective. I've categorized all of these different projects over here, right? You can see Good Health. This is an app which we deployed. It has a mobile, prod, web, and staging. And I can switch to any one of these contexts and then look at the cloud posture information over here. I think Abhishek is pointing, to a cloud security. Is looking for a cloud security posture management tool that can audit and look at all of the inventory across multiple cloud providers. So Secure State is definitely one of the options for them. So here, now I can look at all of the client's information for this specific environment, right? It doesn't, and this covers, AWS, GCP as well, and you can customize the compliance framework, right? You don't necessarily have to use the ones which we provide you. You can also create your own custom compliance framework if that is something you're looking for. So these are out of the box frameworks. We have, I think, I filtered it by 762 rules, which are out of the box, and we continuously add, right? It's a SaaS service, so.
Very cool. No, thanks so much for the entertaining the digression here. You get a bonus demo of Secure State here on episode 10 of vRealize is live. So yeah, no, thanks a ton for that, Sri. Guys, is there anything else going back to the cloud costing piece of this and the integration between vRealize Operations and CloudHealth? Is there anything else you guys want to address before we close this out, or if anybody has any questions, throw those in the chat as well.
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, if someone wants to if I were to summarize this in a few lines, it would be, if you are using anything related to public cloud, and you want that some of that data sent to VMware Operations, maybe you have ops folks who are managing both of these environments, and they would like to see that information there. We have that integration available. For anything related granular public cloud costing, you come to CloudHealth dashboard. Anything granular costing, say on the hybrid cloud environment or the VMC environment, vRealize Operations, it's a better suited option. And we do have integrations for both of these platforms to exchange. So it doesn't matter where you start from, you always have an option to integrate out of your platforms and exchange the data.
Yeah, really great to see these integrations and see everything working together as a suite. So, gentlemen, thanks so much for giving us this demonstration today, kind of walking us through, the costing side of things from both ends. Check out CloudHealth, cloudhealthtech.com for more information there. And if you want to learn a little bit more, if you want to get a little more hands-on, see some more demos, maybe dive a little bit deeper into anything you've seen here today and beyond, check out pathfinder.vmware.com. It's a fantastic site. It's all organized. You can look at various products. So you can start at level 100. Hey, I want to learn about application monitoring within vRealize Operations. Well, we could start with level 100 type of information to get you started on it, and we can go all the way down to level 400 deep technical hands-on labs. All sorts of wonderful things. So pathfinder.vmware.com, great place for you to check out. Other places to check out. Shri, you're on Twitter at
Yes.
iTrivatsa.
Yep.
And Tim George, I'm going to try to put you on the spot here. Do you recall what your Twitter handle is?
Not offhand. I don't use Twitter very often, Matt. You are putting me on the spot here.
I think it's Gior29230.
Yeah, there's some numbers after it for sure.
Yeah.
We gotta work on it. It's very personalized, of course.
Yes.
With all the numbers.
It's unique.
Very. And Thomas Bryant with even more numbers, 1979. What's the what is the story behind the 1979 here? Is that you Smashing Pumpkins fan?
That it was so much cooler when I was younger because it's the year I was born. So, but now all that personal information on the internet seems like a great idea 20 years ago. Now, not so much. And then the Kicks is from Serial. Yeah, kid tested, mother approved.
Nice. And I am VMspot on Twitter, so check us out. Of course, VMware Cloud Management. We are at VMware Cloud MGMT. So check us out on Twitter. Reach out to us anytime. Thanks so much for joining us here on episode 10 of vRealize This Live. Tim, Shri, Thomas, always a blast hanging out with you guys, and thanks so much for jumping in today.
Thanks a lot.
You bet. Thanks, Matt. And Thomas and Shri.
Yeah.
Full room today. Thanks, everybody, for joining. See you on the next episode.